seems it's time for me to do an update. And the big question that a lot of people have been asking is when and if I will be returning to the trail. But before I address that question, let me start with an update. I'm back in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico now, and it's uncharacteristically hot here. So that was my biggest surprise once I got back here was how warm it's been, warm and dry. But actually, things have actually gone pretty well. So I'm going to sort of bring you up to date on exactly what has transpired since I've left the trail, and then address that question. Will I be returning to the trail, and if so, when will that be? So before I talk about my future on the AT, let's go ahead and review my first 530 miles on the Appalachian Trail. I started with the approach trail at Amicalola Falls, and actually when I picked up my tag on March 12th, I just hiked up to the lodge and spent the night in the lodge, and then the next morning, the 13th, did the approach trail, and that was pretty much what I expected. It wasn't too easy, but like I said, pretty much what I expected. And then I guess my official first full day on the AT would have actually been the 14th then, since I just hiked up to Springer Mountain and then just the first shelter after that. Actually, I think I went a couple miles after the Springer Mountain. So the first full day on the Appalachian Trail was, again, pretty much what I expected. There was some stormy weather forecasts for the next day, and so I actually ran into some trail magic, a trail angel, I should say, that gave me a little bit of a warning about the coming storm, which turned out to not be so bad after all. But as I went on, the trail did not really get any easier. The Appalachian Trail is not easy. When I talk about an easy day, it might be more appropriate to say not quite so difficult. But as I went along, and each day I met new challenges. I tell you, what surprised me the most was how much and how steep a lot of the climbs were, and that was quite exhausting. And I would, it was just a really good cardio workout, actually. And then, but the downhills going down, I quickly found out were just as challenging, not so much for the cardio, but just the wear and tear on your body, especially the knees. So this is what I was figuring out, early on. But the trail was tough, but eventually I did start to get my trail legs, and I was getting a bit more confident. But pretty much at the end of each day, I was pretty tired, and and that's sort of something that I think something that I wasn't expecting was the day after day of knowing that you're going to put your body through such an endurance test. That's probably was
so this is
the first thing that I had to
24.
sort of adjust to, getting into the mindset that, I'm going to do this exact same tomorrow. I'm pooped at the end of the day today, and tomorrow's going to be more of the same. And so that's a bit daunting when you realize that, the Appalachian Trail is over 2,000 miles, and to complete it, you're going to be out there for a few months for sure. And that's when I started checking my calendar and my pace, and I started to get a little bit worried about, am I going to be able to finish by the date that I had in mind? And it wasn't that critical that I did, but I was a little concerned about that. And but everyone kept telling me that later on I'll be able to get in some bigger miles. So I just kept going. But we did have some fairly early on, some pretty cold nights. And I realized that my old sleeping bag that I had that hadn't been really washed in a while and had been compressed, it down and it had been compressed, was not really insulating the way it should. So I was concerned about, because there was some bad weather for the Smokies that was forecast. And so I was concerned about, being warm enough once I get into the Smokies. So actually, once I got to the Fontana Marina, I took a ride in with, got a shuttle in with a couple of other hikers into Gatlinburg, and more specifically Pigeon Forge, in order to get another sleeping bag. And then I went to the REI in Pigeon Forge, and they were kind enough to actually mail home my first sleeping bag for me after I purchased the other one. So so I started off the Smokies with the new sleeping bag, and it's good that I did, because it wasn't snowing yet, and they weren't saying for sure that there was going to be any snow, just sort of cold and questionable temperatures. And I was saying to myself, well, it would be nice to, at least see a little bit of snow one day. And so my first night in the Smokies, I was at actually it was just a campground. There was no shelter there, which is unusual, because whenever there's a shelter, they want you in the Smokies to actually stay in the shelter as opposed to camp. But I was in my tent because there was no shelter. And as I was cooking my dinner that night, it began to sleet a little bit, but not really what I'd call snow. But by the time I woke up in the morning, everything was covered with a fairly light dusting of snow, and I thought that was kind of cool. But it was just the beginning. The next couple of days, there was a lot more snow, and it was a lot colder. And I was really glad that I had that sleeping bag. Now, by the time I got to Clingman's Dome, hiking down from Clingman's Dome, the snow had turned to ice, which is not good under any circumstances, but a lot of the hike down from Clingman's Dome was on rocks. And so there was a sheet of ice on all the rocks, and I just decided it was too dangerous. I was actually hiking with another hiker at that time. We just happened to be hiking at the same time, the same part of the trail. And he had fallen twice, and I had already fallen once, and this was early on. And so I decided, in fact, so did the other hiker, that it was just too dangerous to be hiking that day, especially since we didn't have any micro spikes. And so we only hiked about 4 miles to the first camp area that we came to. And so that was a short day. And then the remaining days, I went into it was warming up a bit, so the snow was melting, but there was also some rain forecast, and so I was hoping to get out of the Smokies before the rain hit. I didn't quite do that, but eventually did. So the Smokies probably were the most difficult part, but then once I got to Virginia and Damascus, things, the first day or two right out of Damascus was a little bit more the same, not quite as bad as some of the other stuff that I'd seen. But after that, the trail was getting a lot easier, and I'm sure I was getting in better shape, getting my trail legs. And so I started putting in some bigger miles, and I even got in some 18, 19, and 20 mile days. So I was doing fairly well. And then, of course, that's when I got the bad news. So, what are my future plans now for the Appalachian Trail? And that I really can't answer right now, because there's a lot to consider. Things have gone so well as far as finding new home and all that stuff, that I suppose it would be possible for me to get back on the trail this year. Maybe do a flip-flop or something like that might be necessary, depending on when I could get back on, but that's not out of the question. And if not this year, then maybe pick up where I left off next year, or maybe try to do the whole thing next year. Who knows? So there's I've got lots of options, and but right now I think for me to figure out which of those options makes sense, really I need to do a little bit more reflection on how things went this year and what's really important to me. Now, doing this vlogging, my YouTube channel, that actually kind of puts a little more pressure on me to see this thing through. But I really don't want YouTube or my vlogging to really be much of a factor. So I would say that there's probably a good chance I won't be back on the trail this year, but that, like I said, it's still not out of the question because things are going so well. Things might work out, but there's a lot of things I need to work out, like, okay, who's gonna watch my home and my dogs and things like that again, I've also got an issue with my residency visa here in Mexico, which needs to be renewed, and that could complicate things a little bit too. How does what I've already done fit into that equation? I feel like I really have mixed feelings because as the hike went on, as I said, it was a bit more difficult than I had originally thought it would be, but I was doing it, and I really had a great feeling knowing that I was accomplishing something, and realized that this was something I could do. And the Smokies being one of the toughest parts to go through, I knew that I already had that behind me, and that the rest of the trail, or at least the middle part, was going to be, from what I've been told, a lot easier than the first 25% of the trail. However, I've done my research and listened to other people. The very end, and especially going through the Whites and the 100-mile wilderness, is also a big challenge. And so if I don't go back and complete the trail, that's always, I think, is going to haunt me. It would haunt me if I don't go back and complete the trail, wondering, well, could I have really conquered the Whites and made it through the 100-mile wilderness and got to the peak of Mount Katahdin? And then there's also just sort of all the iconic things. I was looking so much forward to getting to McAfee Knob and getting the picture that everybody gets there, and I wasn't able to do that, and some other silly things like the half-gallon challenge and all those things I didn't get to experience. And in fact, I had to leave the trail, the week before trail days, and there's a lot of things that if I don't go back and complete it, I think will continue to haunt me. So what are the things I'm considering that might cause me to decide that I don't need to go back and finish the trail, or maybe that I shouldn't even go back and finish the trail? And probably the biggest factor are my new pups that wasn't really planned, but it just so happened that I ended up adopting a couple of little puppies right before I left to hike the trail, and I really feel bad about leaving them for such an extended period of time, especially since they were just pups. And in fact, when I got back there, they're still pups, but they are much larger now, and it's clear that the woman that I had house sitting for me and dog sitting for me was not really a dog person. She did a good job, but I really think that the dogs, especially once they got larger, were too much for her to handle. And plus, she had recently broken her ankle, so she had to have a friend come in to help walk the dogs and things like that. So that's probably one of my biggest reasons for not returning to the trail, or at least for an extended period of time. Maybe just do sections here and there in the future, because I don't want to leave my dogs for such a long period of time. And also I'm new here in Mexico, and I wanted to get settled in. And part of that is getting back into my studio. I've now got a lot more time, assuming that it's not spent on the trail, where I can get into my studio and be a lot more productive in my own creative process, making some art. So yeah, those are some of the reasons that I might, maybe not go back to the trail at all, or decide just to do it in small sections, just a few weeks at a time. So yeah, those are my considerations. For those who didn't see my last video, I was forced to get off the trail. The situation was that the home that I have in here in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, I'm leasing from a woman, and I got a message from her while I was on the trail stating that due to some personal and family issues, she was going to need to move into the home that I'm in right now. So, and my lease, when my lease was up in September, so I wasn't even sure if I could even finish the trail by September, let alone have time to find a new place to live and relocate and all that. So I definitely needed to leave the trail to take care of all that. Gets a bit more complicated though, because I actually left all my Mexican paperwork, my residency papers and things like that, at my sister's home in Dallas, so I was going to have to fly over to Dallas first. She is actually in Ireland now, but she was getting ready to leave, so I needed to make all of this happen before she left for Ireland. So I needed to get off the trail pretty quickly and get back to take care of this business. Now, the good news is things have actually gone pretty well since I've been here. So a lot faster than I thought they would. So I do think that I'm going to have some options time-wise, but there's still a lot more complications that I need to be dealing with. So I had a friend watching my house and taking care of my dogs for me while I was gone, and I contacted her to let her know that I was actually going to have to be heading home a lot sooner than I had planned, and clued her in on what my situation was. And so she immediately went out and started looking around for a place for me to live, and just within my own neighborhood, just about maybe a couple of blocks away from where I am. She actually found a terrific place for me to look into, and it is indeed a really nice place, and I'm in the process right now of negotiating a lease with them. And my current landlady said that she would let me out of my lease if I managed to sign something, get a new place to live, and so I could get all of this taken care of really within just a few weeks. So yeah, that's my situation right now. So now, will I be returning to the trail? Well, there's still a lot of things to work out to make that possible. It doesn't necessarily have to be this year, but will I return this year? Will I wait till next year to go back and finish the trail? Or will this be the end of my days on the Appalachian Trail? So I have a lot to figure out and a lot to accomplish in the next couple of weeks. Number one, my lease still isn't finalized yet, but it looks like I'm going to be able to sign a 5-year lease for my new place. And for those that have been asking some questions about what my new home will be like, I've made a little video that you can watch. So this is the entryway into the
garage. Now I will be using the garage. It's a 2-car garage, but I'll be using it as my studio space. And then the windows right there look into the kitchen. There's a skylight. And then this is the entryway into the home. And as you come in, if you look to the right, there's a little window, an arched window looks into the dining room. Then you walk in, those are the stairway to the second floor. And then there's a courtyard right there on the first floor. You can go out to either from the living room or the bedroom, you can enter the courtyard. I have a gas fireplace, and this is where I imagine that I might put my Ed Sanders painting right there. But that's all yet to be determined. And then this is still the living room. And then I thought I would probably put my Terry Copen piece right there. Tentatively, that's what I've got planned. So yeah, that's the living room space. And then the dining room right there. And in the dining room, this will be the dining room / library, because I think I'll put my bookcase right there in the dining room. And then when you go through the dining room, you get to the kitchen. And the kitchen, I'm going to have to buy my appliances. And there's a archway that looks out to the entryway, and then the windows looking into the garage. And then I've got lots of counter space, that's good, and lots of cabinets. And kind of unusual for Mexico, I even have an oven that goes with my stove there that you can see. And then behind the kitchen, I have a laundry room. And that window looks out to the street, the front of the street. So, and then here again, we're in the kitchen. Okay, and there's my stairs that go upstairs, but first there's a downstairs bedroom. So let's take a look at the downstairs bedroom that's right behind the stairway. And this is where I'll probably put my king-size bed that's in my master bedroom now, or my guest room now. And then here again, you can get out to the courtyard from this room as well. And then there's a fairly good sized walk-in closet with lots of shelves and places to hang my clothes. And then the bathroom with 2 sinks and a shower. So, yeah, and then we'll go upstairs. The bedroom is actually the exact same layout right above the other one, but I'll go ahead and show you the inside of it as well. So you come up the stairway and you turn right here, and that will take you into the second floor bedroom, which, as I said, is the same as the other, except the instead of the sliding doors into the courtyard, there's just a window. But it has these nice arched brick ceiling. That's pretty cool. And then the walk-in closet is just like the other one. And bathroom just like the other one. Shower. And then also on the second floor, the stairway takes you up to this a little den, a room right here. Well, here's the an outdoor patio. I have 2 outdoor patios. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to utilize those. This one looks out over the courtyard, the first floor courtyard. So I could have, some tables and chairs up there, maybe a grill or something to have a little cookout there. And then it goes back into, and this is sort of like I'll use it as a den or family room or something like that. And I'm imagining that I might put my rooster painting right there. So, yeah, and then there's another door, sliding doors that goes out to another second floor patio space. This one goes out to the front of my house and overlooks the street that my house is on. So we'll go out and take a look at what the street looks like. So there's towards the exit. This is a gated community, so that goes towards the gate, and then that just goes into the community more that direction right there.